What is going on, guys? I'm back today to talk about a movie that was released on Shudder a while ago. And this is a really cool release because it's a posthumous release from director George Romero. I'm a big fan of George Romero. My favorite George Romero film is actually Martin, which just got a Blu-ray release not too long ago. I just absolutely adore that film. And I think George Romero was really a pioneer in the horror genre at not only creating truly scary horror films, but most of his films have a really interesting social commentary under the surface. And this was a film that I think the footage was lost or something of that nature, and that it was recovered and restored. And it's a short 58-minute runtime of a film that Shudder was able to get a 4K restoration of. And I've been looking forward to watching this for a while, and for some reason I've just been putting it off. And so today I'm going to be talking about the film The Amusement Park. The Amusement Park is directed by George Romero. An elderly gentleman sets out for what he thinks will be a normal day at an amusement park and is soon embroiled in a waking nightmare. Apparently this film was entered in a film festival from Romero in like the mid-70s, and it's said that the print was lost and that someone discovered it in 2017. They got it and then they worked on getting the restoration put together. Obviously George Romero has passed away, but they thought it would be cool for people to be able to see unreleased footage of a George Romero project. And obviously, being a huge fan of George Romero, I've been excited to watch this, and I thought that it was really good. I don't think that it's great, but I think that it's really good, and it has a very interesting premise, and I think it does a very good job executing its premise. And like the plot description states, it is a very simplistic premise. It is about an elderly man who, at the beginning of the film, we see in an all-white room. He's got a bandage on his head, he's got blood coming down his face, and a door opens, and it's the same man. And he walks in and he says, "I think I want to go outside." And the man that's in the chair says, "Don't go outside, you don't want to go there, you don't want to see what's out there." And he says, "I think I'll go out there anyway." And when he goes outside, he enters an amusement park. And throughout the film, he's going through these different sets of circumstances at this amusement park, that the rides and the games and the things at the amusement park are a reflection of real life scenarios, things that elderly people have to experience, and how society treats elderly people. And the entire statement of this film is to show the horrors and the abuse and sometimes neglect that elderly people have to go through. There's a statement at the beginning of the film from the lead actor about what George Romero was trying to convey with this piece, and it's very on the nose. Every single scene that you're watching, it's like, okay, this shows how the younger generation doesn't care about elderly people. This shows how elderly people are treated by medical professionals. This shows how people will take advantage of elderly people, or just act like because they're older that their brains don't work the same and that they can be taken advantage of. And it's really interesting to see the different set of circumstances that George Romero sets up for that. There's one scene in particular of like before this couple gets on these bumper cars, the husband is essentially taking his vision test, and they tell him that he can't drive anymore. So his wife is driving him. One of the bumper cars hits him on the back, and like the insurance agent shows up. And it's very surreal, and it's executed really well, and it makes a statement. And each vignette that the film shows really gives you the experience that an elderly person has in society, especially when they're treated differently because they are older. I really like some of the editing decisions in this. It gets very surreal in moments, even for Romero. I really liked a lot of the editing choices. The use of like handheld camera in moments made for a very shaky and unsettling experience. There's a lot of tight-knit close-up shots with our lead character that kind of put you in his scenario and really kind of gives you the idea of exactly what he is going through. And I think Romero does a really good job at conveying all that. The issue that I have with this movie, if I had one, is I do think it's really nightmarish and horrifying, but it does start to get a little bit repetitive even for 52 minutes. And I think, leaving the character nameless and he's just an elderly man gives the audience an ability to kind of attach themselves onto him and have this very brief experience that is supposed to speak volumes. But for me, it just lacked something deeper. Once I got the idea, especially from the opening monologue from the actor, which I don't think was needed. If you just jump straight into the movie and watch it, you're going to very early on understand exactly what the film is trying to say. But I think because you get that exposition at the beginning of the film, once you're about halfway through, you're like, okay, I get the point. I understand what he is going for. I understand what he was trying to say. That would be like coming out at the beginning of the Night of the Living Dead and saying, this is a representation of racism in America. You don't need somebody to come out and say that. You can just get it through the context clues that the film is getting you, and obviously the third act punch of the film. And I think, you know, that it's probably because it was being entered into this film festival and he wanted to give a statement about it, and I understand that. But to me, it detracts from the film a little bit because it's very on the nose. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it has great cinematography, fantastic performances. Really like the use of the score in this as well. It's very ominous and eerie, and I think it accompanies the film really well. And as someone who really loves George Romero, I'm just happy to have another project from George Romero that exists after he's gone. It was great to watch something new from him, and it's a movie that I do look forward to watching again sometime in the future. I think it speaks volumes about the issues that the elderly have to deal with, and I thought that it was handled really well. So have you seen The Amusement Park? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this was really solid. It's not a perfect movie, but it's really well shot. It has a really powerful message, and I look forward to revisiting it sometime soon. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.